Hello all. We are working on 10.1 and 10.2, but we're going to start off by just visualizing what we're doing here today. We are going to be working on areas of triangles and quadrilaterals. All of these formulas are given to you at the top of this page. We have rectangle, square, parallelograms, triangles, kites, rhombuses, and trapezoids. The only ones that should be kind of new for you guys is going to be the kites and rhombuses. We can see right here we have a formula of 1/2 times our diagonal 1 and our diagonal 2. Again, that's not the only way to solve a kite and a rhombus, especially rhombuses, because rhombuses are parallelograms. Trapezoid, it's going to be 1/2 times our height times our top base and our bottom base. However you want to spin it. Our bases, remember, are the parallel sides. We'll talk about law of sines with triangles. That's going to happen during our block day. But a triangle's formula hasn't changed for area. It's 1/2 base times height. So I'm going to ask you to do 3 things today, and it's going to be what's the shape, find it, what's the scenario, analyze it, and then the third thing is use the area formula and find the area. So our first shape is a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is base times height. We have a perimeter. We have some side lengths. So I need to analyze the problem now by drawing a picture. So a side length of 12 means the other side is 12. So that's 24 for our side lengths. If I have a perimeter of 44 inches, that means the other sides have to be 20, and I need to cut it in half because they should be the same. This is a rectangle. So now you have your area of 12 times 10, and that's going to get you an area of 120 inches squared. So the first step, like I said, find the shape, analyze the scenario is the second step. I found that it had perimeter and side lengths. I used that to find the missing information, and then I filled in my area formula, base times height. So now I'm going to work a little bit faster. This time I have a square. It's got a perimeter of 32 inches, but the nice thing about a square is that the perimeter is just the 4 sides added together, and they're all the same. So the 4 sides is equal to 32, which means all of my sides are 8, because 32 divided by 4 is 8. Area is even simpler. It's going to be, in this case, area is equal to the sides squared, or base times height, which just means 8 squared. So the area is equal to 64, and in this case, inches squared. We can't forget our units. Units need to be in square because it was representing area. It's 2 dimensions. Our last one here, we need to envision this as a parallelogram that's standing up with its height. In this case here, the height is 10 feet because it is allocating itself towards the base. And the base in this case is going to be 7 feet because the top of it's 7 feet, which represents the bottom of 7 feet as well. It's a parallelogram. Opposite sides are congruent. So you have area is equal to base times height after I spin it. We just talked about the base being 7 and the height being 10. And in this case, that's going to get you 70 feet squared. So once again, this 10 feet is the height because it has the perpendicular marking on it. It is a right angle. The base is related to the height, so the 7 has to be its base because it's attached to the height. Those are few takeaways from this. Now, number 4, we are not going away from the area, but we need only the shaded area. And there's nothing special about it. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height for a triangle. What we need to recognize is that the base of the shaded is only 5, and the height of the shaded is still just 4. That is the maximum height. So we don't do anything special. Area is equal to 1/2 times our base of 5 times 4, which is our height. I'm going to do my order a little bit different on my base and my height. I'm going to multiply the 5 times 4 because multiplication is commutative. Half of 20 is going to get you 10, and this is not in units that are known, so this is units squared. Number 5, we have a rhombus, so I'm going to draw a rhombuses. Rhombuses share the same sides. So all the sides are the same. Now that doesn't matter because we are going to use our diagonals. And our first diagonal is 8, while our second diagonal is 6. The area formula for a rhombus that's given to us is 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So if I rewrite this, this is 1/2 times 8 times 6. You can take half of 8. That's 4 times 6. The area is 24. Finished. Oh, and this is in inches, so we can't forget this. Inches squared. Done. Our last problem for number 6 in the boxes is that we are dealing with the trapezoid. And the trapezoid's area is always going to be 1/2 times the height times the bases added together. The problem with this is that we do not have our second base. We have our first base, but not our second one. So we can figure this out by knowing that we can make a rectangle here. This is an isosceles trapezoid. That means the left leg is the same as the right leg. And so that means we're just finding out this missing part of our base. So if we're using Pythagorean theorem, because we have a right triangle here, we should have x squared plus 12 squared is equal to 13 squared. And that's because 13 is always my c squared. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So now I have x squared plus 144 is equal to 169. I subtract 144 from both sides and end up with 25. The only way to get rid of a square is to use the square root. So x is equal to 5. We're going to take the positive version. So since x is equal to 5 on both sides, we now know our second base. It's equal to 20. And now I can just use my formula. Area is equal to 1/2 times the height, which is 12. It's listed, times our base of 10 plus 20. Now I'm going to work the inside. That's going to get me 30. And then I'm going to take half of 12. So I'm kind of working a little quicker. My area is going to equal 180. And in this case, I don't have any units, so it's going to be units squared. If you need to pause, go back and watch that part again. This is a cumbersome problem. Take it slow. Watch it a few times. All right, we're going to figure out the last two figures that we have here. I'm going to do it my way because I like the way that I see it. I see it as a trapezoid. I have an area of a trapezoid plus the area of a rectangle. And so I'm going to add the two. The area of the rectangle is pretty simple. It's 2 times 3, which is 6 centimeters squared. I now have a new base here of 10 plus 3, which is 13. This height right here is only 8 because this side is 2 centimeters out of 10. So now I have my area of a trapezoid, which is 1/2 times my height, which is 8, times my bases added together. So 8 plus 13. And I'm going to add on my area of a rectangle, which is 6. Half of 8 is 4, times 8 plus 13 is 21, plus 6. That's 84 plus 6, which means my total area is 90 centimeters squared. So, again, if you need to see it, I had my area of my trapezoid. That's going to be highlighted in yellow. And then you can see my area of the rectangle is always 6. I haven't changed it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Add them together at the end, and you're going to get 90 centimeters squared. Okay, our last problem here today is easier if you think about it upside down. So I need to find this height here. And if I find this height here, I already know what the area is. That's the only way I'm finding my height here. So I'm going to find the area of the gray triangle first. And the way that I do that is I reorientate the triangle. If I do that, I have a height of 4 and a base of 12. So in this case, my area is just going to be equal to half of my base times my height. So half of 12 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. So my area is 24. This is fantastic. This gives me my answer because now I have to look at it in a different perspective. I have a base times a height is going to be equal to my area. But if I already know my formula, 1/2 base times height, And I already know my area, it's 24, so 24 is equal to 1/2 of my base, which is 8, times my height, which is h. I don't know what h is. I just multiply it out, so 24 is equal to 4 times h. So 4 times h. Well, I solve for h by dividing by 4. In this case, h is 6. And so we can verify it. 8 times 6 is 48. You cut it in half, and it's 24. So your height is 6. Now, if you have any problems with this, please feel free to rewatch it. Take your time, go back through it, find other resources like Khan Academy, or you can always send me an email or visit one of my colleagues. I hope you have a wonderful day, and this was your introductions back into areas of some easy figures.